The Galactic Council voted to exile Earth. Humanity didn't wait to be told twice. Commander Susan Brooks stood in the Galactic Council chamber, fingers white against the metal rail. The voting had been going for an hour. Every species in the galaxy, all 212 of them, was condemning Earth to exile. She watched the screens above her head, red light after red light. Guilty, guilty, guilty. The vegans went first, their crystalline bodies flashing crimson. The followed, limbs moving in the universal signal for condemnation. The fish people of Aquarius. The gas clouds from Jupiter's moons. Even the peaceful plant creatures from voted against humanity. Lieutenant Harrison stood beside her, younger, angrier, trembling with rage he couldn't quite hide. "This isn't fair," he whispered. "What crime did we commit?" Susan kept her eyes on the screens. Being too loud, building things too fast, wanting too much. "That's not a crime." Quiet, her voice was soft but firm. "Earth needs me calm." The council speaker floated at the center of the chamber, a massive octopus made of light, tentacles drifting in slow, hypnotic patterns. Its voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "The voting is complete. All 212 member species have cast their votes." The chamber fell silent. Thousands of aliens watched from the gallery seats, beings of scale and fur and rock and energy. All of them wore the same expression. Relief. Relief that the dangerous species would finally be contained. Earth stands accused of aggressive expansion, reckless technological development, and disturbing the peace of our galaxy, the speaker continued. The verdict is unanimous, guilty on all charges. Susan felt tense. She put a hand on his arm. "Not yet. The sentence is exile. Earth and all human colonies must withdraw from galactic space. You have one standard cycle to remove your species from all territory outside your home system. Any humans found in council space after the deadline will be arrested." One standard cycle. 6 months in Earth time. Susan did the math in her head. Humanity had colonies on 43 worlds, space stations around 100 more, mining operations, research bases, trade posts scattered across thousands of star systems. 3 billion people. 6 months. During the evacuation period, the speaker said, human ships will be monitored. Any aggressive action will result in immediate military response. The jump gates to Earth will be sealed once the evacuation is complete. This exile is permanent. Couldn't hold back anymore. You're condemning us to die. Earth alone can't support our population. We need those colonies for food, for resources. Susan squeezed his arm harder. Then she spoke, voice steady and clear. "Thank you for clarifying the terms. The people of Earth accept the Council's decision. We will begin preparations immediately." The silence that followed felt wrong. Aliens shifted in their seats, tentacles twitched, scales rustled. They had expected arguments, threats, maybe violence. Humans were known for their emotional responses. This calm acceptance felt wrong. The ambassador, a tall being made of blue crystal, leaned forward. "You accept, without protest." Susan turned to face the gallery. 3 billion humans were watching this moment through quantum communicators. Every colony, every ship, every station. Everyone was waiting. "Of course we accept," Susan said. Her smile was polite, professional. "You've made your position very clear. Humanity is not welcome here. We understand completely." She turned back to the speaker. "We'll need the official evacuation orders sent to all human settlements. I assume you have a list." The speaker's tentacles twisted in confusion. "Yes, of course, but Commander Brooks—" "Then we have a lot of work to do," Susan interrupted. "If you'll excuse us, we need to inform our people. 6 months isn't much time." She turned and walked toward the exit, followed, face still red with anger. As the doors closed behind them, Susan heard the aliens beginning to talk among themselves. They sounded worried. Good. In the hallway finally exploded. Commander, how could you just accept that? They're destroying us. Susan kept walking. Her smile never wavered. Do you remember the old saying about glass houses? What does that have to do with everything we've built out here? Every station, every colony, every jump gate. She looked at him. Who maintains it all? Stopped walking. Understanding dawned on his face. We do. Every trade route uses our gates. Every medical center runs on our technology. Half their food supply comes from human agricultural worlds. Susan's smile turned sharp. They want us gone, fine, but they didn't say we had to leave our toys behind. His anger transformed into something else. Something that looked like hope. We're taking it all with us. Every last bolt, Susan confirmed. They want a galaxy without humans. They're about to learn exactly what that means. She activated her communicator as they walked toward their ship. She had calls to make, plans to set in motion. The Galactic Council thought they were exiling a troublesome species. They had no idea what they just voted for. President Lisa looked out at the crowd filling the United Earth Assembly Hall. Every seat was taken. People stood in the aisles. Camera drones floated overhead, broadcasting her image to human colonies across the galaxy. Behind her, massive screens showed maps of human space. Red dots for colonies, blue dots for stations, yellow dots for mining operations and research bases. So many dots. So many homes. My fellow humans, she began. Her voice was calm but strong. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council voted to exile us from their space. They gave us 6 months to leave. The crowd stirred but stayed quiet. They had all watched Commander Brooks accept the verdict. They knew this moment was coming. They think they're punishing us, Lisa continued. They think we'll crawl back to Earth with our heads down. They think we'll abandon everything we've built and disappear quietly. She paused, smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. They're wrong. The screens behind her changed. New images appeared. Massive transport ships bigger than any ever built. Construction robots working around the clock. Entire cities being carefully dismantled and packed into containers. I'm announcing Operation Exodus, Lisa said. We're not abandoning anything. We're taking it all with us. Every building, every machine, every grain of soil from our terraformed worlds. If they want us gone, we'll go. But we're not leaving them a single atom of human achievement. The crowd erupted. People cheered, cried, hugged each other. The sound was deafening. Captain Martinez watched the president's speech from the bridge of his ship, the Northern Star. Through the windows, he could see New Phoenix below, humanity's first colony outside the solar system. 50 million people called this city home. Captain, we're getting the evacuation orders, his communications officer reported. Nodded, put them on the main screen. The orders were simple but shocking. Don't just evacuate the people, take everything. Buildings, roads, power plants, even the topsoil from the farms. Leave nothing behind. Sir, that's impossible, his first officer, Williams, said. How do we move an entire city? Studied the plans that came with the orders. We don't move it. We take it apart piece by piece. Look, they're sending us construction drones, matter converters, molecular storage units. Everything goes into these new transport ships they're building. Whistled softly. They're really doing it. They're stealing our colonies back. Not stealing, corrected. It was always ours. We built it. We maintained it. Now we're taking it home. In the engineering section of Space Station Alpha, Chief Engineer Cooper worked with his team to understand their new orders. The station orbited a major trade hub where dozens of alien species met to exchange goods. Okay, people, listen up, said to his crew, human and alien alike. Earth wants us to start disconnecting our systems from the alien sections of the station. An insect-like raised one of his 4 arms, but the human systems run everything: life support, gravity, power generation. Without them, the alien sections won't function. Shrugged, not our problem anymore. They wanted us gone, remember. We're just following orders. The human crew members exchanged knowing looks. The aliens looked worried. Over the next weeks, the galaxy watched in growing alarm as humanity began the largest migration in history. The new transport ships were engineering marvels. Each one could hold an entire city, broken down and stored in compressed matter fields. On Harvest, the galaxy's biggest agricultural world, massive machines worked day and night. They scooped up the rich farm soil that humans had spent decades perfecting. They carefully dug up every fruit tree, every vegetable plant. They drained the lakes and packed up the water purification systems. The observer, sent to monitor the evacuation, floated next to Farm Director Sarah. Its ghostly form flickered with distress. "You're taking the dirt," it asked in disbelief. "But this is a living world, you can't just—" "Watch us," Sarah said cheerfully. "This soil has Earth bacteria in it, Earth nutrients, it's ours. Your council was very clear, they want everything human gone. We're just being thorough." She pointed to the massive excavators. "Don't worry, I'm sure the bedrock underneath will grow food just fine, maybe in a few thousand years." The same scene played out across human space. Factories were dismantled bolt by bolt. Hospitals were packed up, including all the medical equipment and research data. Schools vanished overnight, taking their libraries and databases with them. But the real shock came when humans began dismantling the jump gate network. Admiral Julia supervised the operation from the command station. The jump gates were huge structures that created artificial wormholes between star systems. Humanity had built most of them. "Gate 7 is ready for breakdown," her engineer reported. "Begin the process," Julia ordered. On the screen, the massive ring-shaped gate began to fold in on itself. Specialized ships moved in to collect the pieces. In minutes, the shortcut between 2 major trade systems vanished. Julia's communication system lit up with incoming messages. Dozens of alien species were calling, panicking about their trade routes. She ignored them all. Her aide approached carefully. "Admiral, the Council is demanding an explanation. Without the jump gates, travel between systems will take months instead of hours." Julia didn't look away from the screen. "Tell the Council they wanted us gone. The jump gates use human technology. We can't leave such dangerous equipment behind. I'm sure they understand." The aide's crystal form flickered with worry. "But the entire galactic economy depends on those gates." Then they should have thought of that before they voted. By the end of the first month, the scope of humanity's departure was clear. They weren't just leaving. They were erasing every trace of their presence. And the galaxy was beginning to realize what they had done. Ambassador walked into the Galactic Council meeting room with a smile on his face. The alien delegates had called this emergency session after 2 months of human evacuation. They looked worried. Like that. The council speaker's tentacles moved nervously as took his seat. Around the table, representatives from dozens of species watched him carefully. "Ambassador," the speaker began, "we've called this meeting to discuss certain concerns about your evacuation procedures." Leaned back in his chair. "Oh, is there a problem? We're leaving as requested. Actually, we're ahead of schedule." The vegan representative's crystal body flashed red. "You're dismantling the jump gates." "Yes," nodded. "Human technology, very dangerous in the wrong hands. You said so yourselves during the trial." "But the trade routes," a furry started. "Will still exist," interrupted smoothly. "Ships can travel between stars the old-fashioned way. Takes a few months instead of a few hours, but I'm sure you'll adapt." The room erupted in angry voices. Tentacles waved, scales rattled, energy beings flickered. Sat calmly through it all, that same polite smile never leaving his face. "Furthermore," the delegate screeched, "your people are removing infrastructure from mixed-species colonies, hospital equipment, power generators, water systems. All human-designed and built," said. "We have the receipts if you'd like to see them." The ambassador floated forward. "What about the medical facilities? Half the galaxy relies on human doctors and human medical technology." Smile widened. "We're very touched by your concern. Don't worry, we're leaving you detailed instructions on which local plants can be used for basic remedies. Very traditional, very safe." "This is outrageous." The representative's forearms waved frantically. "You're destroying galactic civilization." "No," said, his voice suddenly sharp. "We're removing human civilization. You voted for this. We're simply being thorough." On the mining world of 7, operations manager Carol Foster supervised the final shutdown. The planet was ugly, nothing but rocks and mining tunnels. But those tunnels held the galaxy's largest deposits of crystals, the power source for most advanced technology. Carol watched her crews carefully pack up every piece of mining equipment. Massive excavators folded into impossibly small storage units using human compression technology. Kilometer-long conveyor systems vanished into transport containers. The overseer approached her, his blue crystal form pulsing with anxiety. "Miss Foster, surely you're leaving the extraction systems. The galaxy needs these crystals." Carol checked her tablet. "Sorry, but these are all human systems. The drills, the processors, the safety equipment, all ours. But without them, how will we mine the old-fashioned way, I guess, picks and shovels," she smiled. "Though I wouldn't recommend it, is pretty toxic without proper handling equipment." She pointed to the nearest tunnel. "We're also collapsing most of the mine shafts, safety reasons. Can't leave dangerous holes in the ground." The glow dimmed. "You're sealing away the crystal deposits." "Not our problem," Carol shrugged. "You've got 4 months to figure something out." Meanwhile, at Research Station Gamma in the Horsehead Nebula, Dr. Amy was having a similar conversation with her alien colleagues. The station had been a joint operation, scientists from many species working together. "Amy, please," begged Doctor, a plant-like being from the Plague Cure Research. "Surely you'll share the data. My people are still suffering." Amy felt bad for. They had worked together for years. But orders were orders. "I'm sorry, all human-developed research has to come with us. Intellectual property laws." "But we worked on it together." Sleeves turned brown with distress. "You're right," Amy agreed. She handed a small data pad. "Here's all the research you personally contributed, your observations, your theory notes. Everything else was processed through human computers using human methods. That makes it ours." She started packing up the laboratory equipment. Quantum microscopes went into cases, disappeared into storage units. Even the coffee machine got packed away. "The navigation improvements for traveling through nebulas?" asked a gas being from Jupiter's moons. "Human algorithms," Amy said. "The gravity wave detection system." "Human sensors." "The cafeteria food recipes." Amy almost laughed. "Definitely human, though you're welcome to try recreating Thursday's special. No one could figure out what was in it anyway." As the weeks passed, alien ships gathered near human facilities, watching the great dismantling. They sent message after message, growing more desperate with each passing day. Trade routes were failing. Medical crises went untreated. Food supplies dwindled as human agricultural worlds packed up their farms. The elaborate web of galactic civilization, built over centuries of cooperation, was falling apart. In the council chambers, Emergency sessions became daily events. The aliens argued among themselves, blamed each other, demanded solutions that didn't exist. "Perhaps we could negotiate," suggested the vegan representative one day. "Offer them something to leave the infrastructure." "With what?" snapped the ambassador. "They're taking their entire economy with them. What could we possibly offer?" The council speaker's tentacles drooped. "Maybe we could apologize, ask them to stay." Silence filled the chamber. No one wanted to admit the truth. They had made a terrible mistake. The humans weren't just leaving. They were taking the heart of galactic civilization with them. And there were still 4 months left in the evacuation. Dr. Rachel Green stood in the empty halls of the Crimson Nebula Science Station. The research facility had once buzzed with activity, scientists from 20 different species working side by side. Now only the human staff remained. And they were leaving too. "Final data transfer complete," her colleague Dr. Stephen Ward announced. "All human research has been secured and deleted from the shared servers." Rachel looked at the bare walls where awards and discoveries had once hung. This station had cured diseases, unlocked the secrets of dark matter, mapped distant galaxies. None of that knowledge would remain. Her research partner floated nearby. His blue crystal form pulsed with distress. "Rachel, please reconsider. Our work on the stellar plague cure. My world needs it. Thousands are dying." Rachel felt genuine pain as she answered. "The cure used human DNA sequencing technology. I can only give you the notes from your own contributions." She handed him a small data crystal. "This contains everything you personally discovered. The rest goes with us." "But we work together. Our discoveries built on each other." "I know." Rachel sealed another box of equipment. "I'm sorry, but the council's ruling was clear. Complete separation. No human technology or knowledge can remain in council space." Across the station, similar conversations happened. The biochemist begged for the enzyme synthesis data. The vegan physicist pleaded for the wormhole stability equations. The humans could only shake their heads and continue packing. In the economic center of the galactic trade hub, Director Gregory Adams oversaw the shutdown of humanity's financial systems. For over a century, Earth's banking networks had helped manage interstellar commerce. Now those systems were going dark. "Sir, I'm getting urgent calls from 17 planetary governments," his assistant Lisa Park reported. "The Commonwealth says their entire pension system will collapse without our investment algorithms." Gregory didn't look up from his work. "Not our problem. Transfer all human-owned assets to the Exodus accounts. Cancel all loan guarantees. Void all insurance policies." "But sir, that will crash their economies." "They should have considered that before exiling their economic partners." Gregory typed in another command. "Make sure every human credit, every investment, every piece of our financial infrastructure leaves with us." On the agricultural research station above Harvest Prime, Dr. Wilson supervised the extraction of humanity's greatest agricultural achievements. The station had developed crops that could grow in alien soils, creating food security for dozens of worlds. Her colleague watched in horror as robots packed away seed banks. "Dr. Wilson, without those hybrid grains, my planet will face famine. Our entire agricultural system depends on human-developed crops." Paused in her work, she liked. They'd worked together for years. "I'm leaving you the native plant samples you contributed. But the hybrids, the gene modifications, the growth accelerators, those are human innovations. Billions will starve." "Then your government should have voted differently," sealed another container. "I'm sure the mighty can figure out farming. You did it before humans arrived." "That was 1,000 years ago. We've forgotten the old ways." His expression hardened. "Then I suggest you remember quickly." The knowledge drain accelerated. Libraries closed as humans downloaded and deleted their contributions. Technical schools shut down as human teachers departed with their curricula. Research databases went dark as human-generated data was removed. Dr. Allen managed the shutdown of the Galactic Medical Academy. The institution had trained doctors from every known species, sharing human medical knowledge freely. Now that generosity was ending. "Professor," the Academy's administrator pleaded, "surely the medical textbooks can remain. They save lives across the galaxy." Allen looked at the empty shelves where medical texts once stood. Those books were written by human doctors based on human research. We're taking them home. What about the surgical techniques, the diagnostic procedures? Human innovations, sorry. Allen packed the last box. I'm sure your species' traditional medicine will suffice. You managed before we arrived. The administrator's gaseous form churned with anxiety. We've integrated human medicine so completely. Without it, our healthcare will collapse. Democracy has consequences, Allen replied. Your people voted. This is the result. By the fourth month, the full scope of humanity's importance became clear. They hadn't just been members of galactic society. They'd been its backbone. Their technology, knowledge, and expertise had woven itself into every aspect of alien civilization. On Earth, President received constant messages from alien governments begging for mercy. Trade deals were offered. Apologies were made. Some even suggested reconsidering the exile vote. But it was too late. The great dismantling continued. Humanity packed away its gifts to the galaxy, piece by piece. The aliens had demanded separation. They were getting it, completely, thoroughly, and devastatingly. In the council chambers, representatives met in confusion and fear. Without human translators, they couldn't communicate clearly. Without human advisors, they couldn't solve the growing crisis. Without human technology, their civilizations were beginning to crumble. They had voted to exile Earth, believing humans were the problem. Now they were discovering humans had been the solution all along. Admiral Tor stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Exodus, the largest vessel ever built by human hands. Through the massive windows, he could see humanity's great fleet gathering. 10,000 ships carrying 3 billion people, and everything they had built among the stars. "Status report," he commanded. Captain Diana stepped forward. "All civilian ships are accounted for, Admiral. The industrial vessels have completed their collection runs. The mobile habitats are powered and ready." Nodded. It was time for the final phase. Begin Operation Dark Sky. Across human space, the last connections to the galaxy began to shut down. Navigation beacons that had guided ships for centuries went dark. Mining stations that had fed alien factories powered down. Automated medical centers that had served frontier worlds closed their doors forever. On the bridge of a patrol ship near the vegan border, Captain James Miller received his final orders. "All units, this is command. Initiate stealth protocol. Go dark in 3, 2, 1. James flipped the switches. His ship vanished from every alien sensor in the sector. The new stealth technology, developed in secret over the past months, bent light and energy around the hull. To the galaxy's scanning systems, the human fleet had simply disappeared. "Sir, we're getting panic transmissions from the vegan outpost," his communications officer reported. "They're reporting system failures, lost contacts." "Ignore them, we're ghosts now." James watched as more human ships vanished from the screens. Set course for the rendezvous point. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency alarms blared. The massive tactical display that had always shown the location of every major ship now displayed empty space, where the human fleet had been. "Where are they?" The delegates' tentacles whipped in agitation. 3 billion humans don't just disappear. The flickered between scanner readings. Our sensors show nothing. It's as if they never existed. The military commander chittered nervously. Their entire fleet is gone. Cargo ships, military vessels, even the colony transports, all invisible. On the medical station Haven, Dr. Jennifer Blake finished the last shutdown procedure. The station had served the frontier worlds for 50 years, providing emergency care to anyone who needed it. Now its halls were empty, its equipment packed away. "Ma'am, the colony is reporting a medical emergency," her aide said. "Their outbreak is spreading. They need our help." Jennifer looked at the dark screens, the empty beds. "We're no longer authorized to provide assistance to council species. Our mission here is over." She walked to the escape pods, where the last human staff waited. As their pod launched, the station's lights went out one by one. Another human gift to the galaxy. Gone dark. The transportation network felt the loss next. Jump gates failed as their human-built control systems shut down. Ships found themselves stranded between stars. Trade routes that had taken hours now required months of conventional travel. Admiral of the collective fleet watched helplessly as the jump gate before him flickered and died. "Can we repair it?" he asked. His engineer's feathers drooped. "The control systems are encrypted with human codes. Without their technicians, we're stuck." Looked at the star charts. What had been a 2-day journey to the would now take 8 months. His supplies wouldn't last 3. Earth's weather control satellites around terraformed worlds shut down next. Without human maintenance, carefully balanced climates began to fail. Desert worlds that had been made green started to heat up again. Ice planets that had been warmed began to freeze. Governor of New Prosperity watched his sky change color as the atmospheric processors went offline. "How long before the air becomes unbreathable?" he asked. His science advisor calculated quickly. Without the human systems, 6 months, maybe less. By the 5th month, the galaxy was in crisis. Economies had collapsed without human banking. Plague spread without human medicine. Pirates ruled space lanes without human patrols. Worlds faced famine without human agriculture. In Earth's solar system, the final preparations were complete. President stood before the assembled fleet commanders. Behind them, Earth itself was hidden behind massive shield generators, invisible to any scanning technology. "Ladies and Operation Breakaway begins now. All ships prepare for departure." The human fleet, invisible and untraceable, began to move. They headed not for any known jump point, but toward the edge of the galaxy itself. Toward the void that no species had ever successfully entered. Behind them, they left a galaxy beginning to understand the true cost of fear and prejudice. The aliens had voted to exile humanity. Now they were learning what life without humans really meant. The Council sent desperate messages into the void, begging humanity to return. But the frequencies were dead. The jump point sealed. Earth had vanished as completely as if it had never existed. The galaxy had gotten its wish. Humanity was gone. The void stretched before humanity's fleet like an ocean of perfect darkness. No stars shone here. No planets circled. It was the empty space between galactic arms that every species said was impossible to cross. Dr. Charles Yang stood in the observation deck of the science vessel Horizon. His team had worked for months on the equations. The math said it could be done. The other species had been wrong. The void wasn't empty. It was full of possibility. "Initialize the quantum bridge generators," he ordered. Outside, massive structures came online. Each one was the size of a small moon, built in secret during the evacuation. They arranged themselves in a precise pattern around the fleet. "Energy levels are stable," reported Doctor, his second in command. "The quantum field is forming." Charles watched the instruments carefully. They were about to attempt something no species had ever managed, creating a stable pathway through the void. The technology was based on human physics that the aliens had always dismissed as impossible. "My God," whispered, "it's working." Before them, space itself began to bend. A tunnel of twisted reality formed, leading deep into the darkness. The path was stable, safe, and completely invisible to anyone without human technology. On the command ship, Admiral Torres received the confirmation. "All vessels prepare for void entry, stay in formation, follow the beacon ships." One by one, 10,000 ships entered the quantum bridge. Families pressed against windows, watching the strange colors of bent space flash by. Children born during the Exodus saw wonders their parents could barely understand. Captain Helen piloted one of the beacon ships. These special vessels guided the fleet through the quantum tunnel, making sure no one got lost in the impossible geometries of folded space. "Steady as she goes," she told her crew. "The journey will take 3 weeks, then we'll reach the other side." Back in Council space, the galaxy fell into deeper chaos. The Galactic Council met in emergency session after emergency session, but without human translators, they couldn't understand each other. Each species was trapped in its own language bubble. The vegan representative held up a tablet showing economic charts, all red, all falling. The wealth of entire systems was evaporating without human banking systems. The delegate displayed images of dying crops. Without human agricultural science, food supplies were failing on 100 worlds. The flickered with reports of spreading diseases. Without human medicine, old plagues were returning and new ones couldn't be stopped. But worst of all were the messages from frontier worlds. Without jump gates, without patrols, without communication networks, entire civilizations were being cut off from each other. The galaxy was fragmenting into isolated pockets. 3 weeks later, humanity's fleet emerged from the void into a new galaxy. The first thing they saw took their breath away. 3 suns dancing together, their combined light painting space in colors no human had ever seen. "Scans show 12 habitable worlds in this system alone," reported the survey team. "No signs of advanced civilization. It's all ours." President stood on the bridge of the Exodus, tears in her eyes. "We made it, we're home." The fleet spread out, each ship heading for its assigned world. The mobile habitats took up orbits. The industrial vessels began unpacking cities. The agricultural ships looked for the best places to plant Earth's stolen soil. Within days, the first human settlements were taking shape under alien suns. Children played in the light of 3 stars. Farmers tested new Earth under strange skies. Scientists studied phenomena that would have amazed their former colleagues. But the real moment of triumph came when the communication systems powered up. "Madame President," the communications director reported, "we're detecting signals from this galaxy, 3 species, all primitive, all curious about us." Smiled, "Open channels. Let's introduce ourselves properly this time." The first contact was with a species that looked like Earth's dolphins but lived on land. They were friendly, eager to learn, excited about the new neighbors who had appeared from nowhere. "You came from another galaxy," their leader asked through the newly calibrated translators. "How is that possible?" "We'd be happy to share our knowledge," replied. "We believe in cooperation, in mutual benefit, but first let us tell you about ourselves, our history, our hopes for the future." As humanity began making friends in their new home, their old galaxy continued to struggle. The Council tried desperately to re-establish contact with Earth, but it was impossible. The humans had vanished so completely that some species began to wonder if they had ever existed at all. Only the failing systems, the silent jump gates, and the empty worlds remained as proof that humanity had once been there. The galaxy had exiled Earth. Now they were learning that some decisions couldn't be taken back. In their new home, humanity thrived. They built cities under triple suns, made friends with species who welcomed them, and created a future where fear and prejudice had no place. They had been pushed from their first home. But in trying to cage humanity, the galaxy had only set them free to find a better one. 5 years had passed since humanity vanished into the void. In a galaxy far from the one they'd left behind, the human race had built something wonderful. President Lisa stood on the observation deck of station. The view still took her breath away. 3 suns danced in the sky, one blue, one yellow, one orange. Their combined light painted 12 human worlds in colors never seen on Earth. "Madame President, the Shimmers are here for the trade meeting," her aide Robert announced. Lisa smiled. The Shimmers were the dolphin-like creatures humanity had met first. They'd become fast friends and eager trading partners. Unlike the old galaxy, these beings saw humans as equals from the start. In the farming valleys of New Eden, children played under the triple sunrise. Maria Santos watched her daughter pick fruit from trees that had been carefully transplanted from Earth. The soil they'd taken from their colonies had mixed with local earth, creating something new and beautiful. "Mama, why did the mean aliens make us leave?" Little asked. Maria knelt beside her daughter. "They were afraid of us, sweetheart, afraid because we were different, but their fear led us here, to a better home." "I like it better here," decided. "We have 3 sons and nice alien friends." Above them, construction crews worked on humanity's project. Jump gates were rising again, but these were different. They had safeguards, protections, and a new rule. Only species that treated humans with respect could use them. Admiral Torres, now head of the Exploration Corps, met with the Council of 3 Suns, the democratic body that governed humanity's new home. "We've made contact with 2 more species in the outer systems," he reported. "The Crystal Weavers and the Cloud Dancers. Both are interested in trade and cultural exchange." "What's our approach?" asked Council Member David. "Same as always, open hands, open minds. We share knowledge freely with those who see us as equals," smiled. "But this time we keep safeguards. We've learned our lesson about one-sided relationships." In the science labs of New Horizon University, Dr. Charles Yang taught a mixed class of humans and shimmers. The alien students floated in water-filled tubes while humans sat at desks. Universal translators, better than the old ones, let everyone understand perfectly. "Today we'll study quantum bridge mechanics," he announced. "This is the technology that brought us here, that let us cross the void everyone said was impossible." A young shimmer raised a flipper. "Professor, will humans share this technology with us?" "Of course," Charles replied, "but remember our agreement. Knowledge is shared among equals. As long as we respect each other, we grow together." In the new capital city of Trinity, President met with Ambassador 3 Ripples of the Shimmers. The alien skin patterns shifted with emotion as they discussed their latest project. "The medical exchange program is working wonderfully," 3 Ripples reported. "Your doctors are learning our healing songs. Our healers are studying your surgery techniques. Together, we've already cured 2 diseases." "This is how it should be," Lisa said. "Different species, different strengths, working together as equals." Through her window, she could see children playing in the parks. Human children and young shimmers splashing in the fountains together. No fear. No prejudice. Just joy. 10-year-old Tommy, born during the Exodus, had never known Earth. To him, home was this place of 3 suns and friendly aliens. He played with his shimmer friend Bubble Singer, creating art that mixed human drawing with alien light patterns. "My teacher says humans came from far away," Bubble Singer said. "Is it true you had only 1 son?" "That's what my mom tells me," Tommy replied. "And the aliens there were mean. They didn't want to be friends." That's silly, Bubble Singer decided. Being friends is the best part. As the suns set in their complex dance, humanity's new worlds glowed with life and hope. Cities grew. Trade flourished. Knowledge flowed freely among species that respected each other. Lisa stood in her office, looking at an old photo of Earth. She felt no anger toward the galaxy that had exiled them. In trying to cage humanity's spirit, they had set it free. In pushing humans away, they had pushed them toward something better. A child's laughter drifted through her window. Human and alien voices mixed in play. This was humanity's future. Not as exiles, but as builders of something new. Not as outcasts, but as the heart of a young alliance based on mutual respect. She touched the photo gently, then put it away. Earth would always be humanity's birthplace. But here, under three suns, among friends who saw them as equals, humanity had found its true home. Susan Brooks stood beside her now. The former commander had become humanity's chief diplomat in this new galaxy. Together, they looked out at the city below, a place where humans and aliens worked side by side, learned from each other, grew together. "Do you ever wonder what happened to them?" Susan asked quietly. "The old galaxy." "Sometimes," Lisa admitted, "but they made their choice, we made ours. They thought we were the problem. We weren't, we were just different, and they were too afraid to see the value in that." Susan nodded. "Their loss became our freedom." Below them, the city lights began to glow in the gathering dusk. 3 different colors for 3 different suns. In the streets, humans and shimmers and crystal weavers and cloud dancers moved together in easy harmony. This was what the old galaxy could have had. If they'd chosen hope over fear, trust over suspicion, cooperation over isolation. "The galaxy voted to exile Earth," Susan said softly. Lisa smiled. "In the end, they did us the greatest favor possible." The two women stood in comfortable silence as night fell over Trinity. Above them, 3 moons rose, one for each sun. The sky was different here. The air tasted different. The future looked different. But humanity was home. Not because they'd conquered this place. Not because they'd forced their way in. But because they'd been welcomed. As equals. As partners. As friends. And that made all the difference.